Along with voting on a president and different state and local officials, as well as a handful of different ballot initiatives, voters in Colorado are going to be asked about the future of a species in November. Proposition 114 asks voters if they want Colorado Parks and Wildlife to come up with a plan to reintroduce gray wolves to the state. Here's a 360 look at the arguments for and against that idea. It's something that happens every election. Signatures are gathered, reviewed, and then issues either make it on the ballot for voters to decide or they don't. This issue, though, is a first of its kind.
This is momentous.
Never before have Colorado voters been asked to decide the future of a species in the state. The ballot question: should wolves be reintroduced in Colorado's wild? A decision that's always been up to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Until now. Supporters say humans hunted these animals to near extinction, and it's up to humans to fix that. Opponents say there are long-term consequences the other side isn't thinking about, while wolf experts say these animals are misunderstood. For centuries, wolves roamed wild in North America, but by the 1900s, they were nearly hunted out of existence. In the 1940s, Colorado said goodbye to its last wild wolf, and in 1983, wolves were added to the federal endangered species list, protected by the government, forbidden from being hunted. Proposition 114 calls for CPW to come up with a plan to reintroduce gray wolves to the state by 2023.
This is unprecedented.
For the group supporting wolf reintroduction, this is a big moment.
Right now, every wolf that we bring down here to reintroduce and their pups are extremely precious.
The Rocky Mountain Wolf Action Fund gathered more than 211,000 signatures in support of this, including...
There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of signatures from the Western Slope,
where ranchers would be affected the most. For them, humans took the wolves away, so we should bring them back. They say there's always been bureaucracy with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service making this decision, and this...
It is about a moment in our history where voters can actually have a say in what is going on in our wildlands.
We don't think that's appropriate. It's really reckless.
For opponents like the Colorado Farm Bureau,
we don't have to worry about a large apex predator decimating livestock herds.
This could have devastating effects on ranchers.
We've got ways to sort of manage and protect our herds. Wolves throw all that into chaos, really.
They say the science doesn't support reintroduction, and that Denver's majority of voters who won't be directly affected shouldn't decide the fate of those who will.
The people on the Western Slope who are going to have to live with this on a daily basis.
There is a reimbursement requirement in the ballot for ranchers who lose livestock to wolves, but...
It's a very imperfect way of trying to put a Band-Aid on something. It doesn't include compensation for the future calves or lambs.
So they say while the intentions are good, the initiative is a mistake.
I've been basically studying wolves for, if you will, 40 years.
Wolf experts disagree.
We take significant steps to reduce that, such as for the rancher training dogs to protect their herd because wolves are very risk averse.
That's an alpha male wolf.
This wolf sanctuary in Guffey,
this is what a wolf can do to a metal bucket.
Believes these animals are just misunderstood.
We wanted to show people that wolves aren't something to be afraid of. They're to be respected.
And they believe these animals will help bring balance to the ecosystem here.
It's not a panacea. It doesn't solve all kinds of problems that have been a long time in making.
CSU researcher Tom Hobbs has been studying the reintroduction of wolves in Yellowstone for years.
Wolves were eliminated a century ago.
And elk populations thrived. They ate the willow trees so beavers couldn't build dams, changing the ecosystem there. But his research shows
the harm that was done by the removal of wolves has not been reversed by their restoration.
Still, he supports their reintroduction in Colorado. Gray wolves have been spotted in Colorado in recent months as their populations grow in other states. Critics of reintroduction say the animals are already establishing a presence in Colorado on their own, and there's no need for humans to interfere. They say letting the wolves come naturally will give people time to adapt. For centuries, gray wolves roamed wild in North America. For decades, humans have taken over. Proposition 114 calls for the two to coexist. But before wolves are reintroduced, humans will decide their fate. For a closer look at Proposition 114 and how exactly it would work, go to thedenverchannel.com and click on the Election tab. And of course, you can always rewatch our previous reporting on those other statewide ballot initiatives by streaming them on your smart device. I'm Megan Lopez.